Hey y'all, it's Lana Rosa. I just met that girl Henny down here at the Diddy trial. She out here working. Shout out to that girl Henny, a brown girl on her grind.
That girl Henny, y'all gotta go to her channel.
The girl Henny, do you know who she is?
She a blogger or something?
Yeah.
It is.
I'm just like, where did this lady come from?
Right? On your ass.
She on your life, G.
Shout out to Henny over there.
What's poppin', everybody? Welcome back to the bar. It's your girl Henny, and I'm about to pour plenty of the hot Henny that y'all love to sip on. So if you're new here, welcome. Please be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe. Click that notification bell, select all, so that you get notified whenever I do a video. And if you are a returning Mob Down Henny Gang member, now let's get into this hot flashback pour up. So today in court, we did have Derrick Furguson, who was the former CFO, which is the chief of finance for Bad Boy and a couple of Diddy's businesses. His title did change bit over the time that he was there at Bad Boy, and maybe I should give y'all a little bit of his testimony straight from the transcripts, because let me check my inbox and see what dropped, because we may have the actual transcript from today. Y'all know that the little tidbits and treats be dropping in Henny's inbox. Okay, I was told that I have it. I don't have it. Okay. But anyway, that's fine, because I still remember what I wrote down. Now, Derrick Furguson came in and he testified to what his job title was. He also testified to wire transfers that were performed. Okay. And if you remember, if you were in the live earlier today, then you know that I told you that when Derrick was questioned about what he thinks. Oh, let me get my notebook, because I don't want to misquote what was said, because baby, that was tea. That was tea. He was asked, did he think of Mr. Combs in a high regard? And it was crickets. It was crickets. And then he was asked, what, if anything, happened that would cause him to not hold Mr. Combs in a high regard? And it was crickets, and there was no further questions. There were also questions that was asked of him, like, did he ever see anyone commit violent acts to help Diddy? And it was a hesitation and a no. Coercion, a hesitation and a no. Violent threats, a hesitation, and then a no. Okay, so this guy, Derrick, he also sits on the board of Diddy's charter schools, okay? And this man is sitting on the stand basically saying, without saying, that he does not hold Diddy in a high regard. When it came to coercion, it was a pause. Actually, you know what? No, that's not accurate. It was a pause, and he asked for Agniflio, that's what we've been calling him, whatever. He asked him to define coercion, because his definition may have been different than his definition of it. So in that testimony during the cross-examination, they spoke about Diageo, okay? There was some talks about Diageo, and like I was just saying on my Instagram video, a lot of people who work for major press outlets did not even know about the Diageo case or where these questions was coming from. And I did get a couple of questions, and when we were live, I said that I would run the Diageo content for y'all, and people said, oh, yeah, Henny, run that beautiful bean footage. So that is what I'm about to do for y'all. I'm not on screen because I'm exhausted, okay? I've been at the courthouse all day long. I am tired. I want to eat something. I want to drink some cold water, and I want to enjoy the rest of the evening, but I have to give you guys what I promised to give you guys when I say I'm going to give it to you. So this is going to be a Henny flashback. We're going to reach back into our stash, and we are going to rewind on that Diageo case so everybody can understand what we are talking about when we're talking about what we're talking about, okay? So without further ado, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and give y'all the flashback of Diddy versus Diageo. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, whether you have seen it and forgot it, or you have not seen it, or you've been looking for it and couldn't find it, here is the Diddy doc, okay? This is the Diddy doc on the case with Diageo.
Can you guys hear
now,
that?
if you don't remember, Diageo decided that they wanted to cut ties with him. And while this person here is saying that all of these allegations came out, and that was the reason, as you can see from this filing right here, New York County Clerk's Office, July 5th, 2023. Okay, so let's find out what happened, because we know that Cassie's case did not come out until November. We know that because it came out around Thanksgiving. But this case here was filed back on July 5th of 2023. Okay, so now let's get into it. All right. It says up here, Combs Wines and Spirits, LLC, the plaintiff, versus Diageo, North America, Inc. Now, Diageo owns a lot of liquor brands, okay? They also, let me just pull it up, because I do know off the top of my head some of them, but I want to be correct when I break down that list for y'all. I don't want to lie. I don't want to get things misconstrued, but they, you know, that they had the deal with him for the Ciroc. They also had the deal for the De Leon, okay? I'm just gonna take this right here. We're gonna copy this and we're gonna put this here. We're gonna drop it like this so we can give you this content. All right. All right. Now, the crazy part is they want you to enter your date of birth just to be able to enter into their website. Like, are you serious right now, Diageo? I get it, but all right. So let's take a look at some of the brands first. Now, Diageo has De Leon, Astral, which I've never heard of this brand. They own Casamigos and Don Julio and 21 Seeds. Okay. And those are some of them that they have. Let's take a peek around. All right. You also see they have Crown Royal, Captain Morgan, Bullet Bourbon, Smirnoff vodka. I don't drink any. I don't like the vodka. I don't like the vodka. I'm sorry. I don't like the vodka. All right. But these are some of, this is on their website. This is their brand. Okay. Our brands. Okay. Explore their brands. This is where we want to be. Look at this. These are all of their brands. So you've got Ciroc, Buchanan's, Casamigos, J&B, Kettle One, Gordon's, Seedlip, Astral Tequila, Bell's, Black and White, Bullet, I think that's how you say, De Leon, Had Club, I don't know how to say this one right here, 21 Seeds, Gordon's, and that's an alcohol-free, Tanqueray, Captain Morgan Spicy Gold, Guinness, Aviation, Rowan Company. These are all of the brands. They own Hennessy, y'all. Shout out to them. They own, man, those their brand. That's their brand. We like the Hennessy sometimes. Can y'all see it? Yeah, y'all can see it. Okay. So those are all of the liquor brands that they have a hand in. And you notice that they still have Ciroc and they still have De Leon on the roster. Now, Ciroc and De Leon are supposed to be Diddy's, right? Well, let's get into this court doc and let's find out what all of the Henny and the hoopla is about it. All right. So, as I stated, this court was filed in New York with the New York County Clerk on July 5th of 2023 at 8:57 a.m. And it says the nature of the action is in public. Diageo, a multi-billion-dollar publicly traded spirits company, proclaimed itself a leader in diversity and inclusion. Diageo's public statements tout that it supposedly believes the most inclusive and diverse cultures make for better business and a better world, and that diversity fuels growth and innovation and ensures we can authentically sell our brands to our customers. Okay. Cloaking itself in language of diversity and equality is good for Diageo's business, but it is a lie. While Diageo may conspicuously include images of its Black partners in advertising materials and press releases, its words only prove the illusion of inclusion. The illusion of inclusion. As Combs Wines and Sean Combs has experienced firsthand, Diageo, by and through its parent companies, Chief Executive Officer Ivan Menez has proven unwillingly to treat its Black partners equally, even when explicitly required by contract to do so. So now this is where Diddy is alleging that the racism came in, because that was what he was alleging on them when they decided that they wanted to pull the plug on their partnership with him. It goes on to say Sean Diddy Combs is the owner of Combs Wines and has a long-standing business relationship with Diageo for two spirit brands, Ciroc Vodka and DeLeon Tequila. Based on Diageo's false promises about investing in diverse owned and diverse backed brands, Mr. Combs has put the full force of his marketing, business, and personal resources into his Diageo partnership. But because he knows that contracts matter more than press releases, Mr. Combs insisted that Diageo agree to certain terms to ensure his brands were not ignored or relegated to second-class status. Relegated. Thank you. Sorry. Status. It instead treated equally. Specifically, his agreement with Diageo contains a broad equal treatment provision to ensure that Diageo could not treat other brands better than it treated Mr. Combs' brand. So he feels that they were treating some of their white branding partners better than they were treating him. And he put a clause in his contract that said, you're not going to do that to my brands. We'll get equal treatment here. All right. Number 4, rather than equal treatment, Diageo has treated Mr. Combs and his brands worse than others because it is Black. Diageo has typecasted Ciroc and DeLeon, apparently deciding that they were Black brands that should be targeted only to urban consumers. Diageo's president of Reserve and New Business, Stephen Russ, directly acknowledged the company's racist undertones in 2019, telling Mr. Combs that some within Diageo's leadership resented him for making too much money. He also admitted that Combs' race was part of the reason Diageo limited the neighborhoods where the Combs brands were distributed. If Mr. Combs were Martha Stewart, Mr. Russ said, things would be different. So he's saying that they branded his alcohols, his spirits, to the urban culture. Well, guess what? You kind of boxed yourself in when you have French Montana, DJ Khaled, Chinks Drugs. What was the other one that passed away? You had Chinks, and there was another one that passed away from Brooklyn. But either way, they were calling themselves Ciroc Boys. So if your brand is being pushed that way and promoted that way by you and by rappers and all of that nature, then how can you put all of that blame on a company? I don't know, but I can understand how you could feel that way. But this, again, is the reason that Diddy was going after them. This is what we're reading. All right. Diageo, Mr. Menez, did I say that right? And Mr. Rust have put their feet on the neck of Mr. Combs' brand. In a business where production, distribution, and sales are the pillar of success, Ciroc and DeLeon have been starved of resources for all three. While Diageo invested in and expanded its other brands, many of which are acquired after Ciroc and DeLeon, Mr. Combs' brands were allowed to wither, getting increased attention only if Combs Wines demanded it under threat of legal action. In a proceeding not before this court, Mr. Combs intends to seek billions of dollars in damages due to Diageo's neglect and breaches. He said he was going after them. Diageo could not even reasonably dispute that DeLeon has been treated less favorably than brands like Casamigos or Don Julio. Instead, Diageo claims that it is required only to provide DeLeon proportionately equal treatment. Now, let me tell you something about DeLeon. DeLeon tequila gives me a hangover. It gives me a headache. Okay? I don't get a headache when I drink Don Julio. I don't get a headache when I drink Esplanade. Or as I was told, I'm going to call y'all backs. People call it the dead homies. I don't get a headache when I drink those. Hell, I don't even get a headache when I drink Jose Cuervo. But when I drink DeLeon, I get a headache and a hangover the next day. So I don't drink it. But anyway, let's continue. Unfortunately, this is not the first time that Diageo has had to answer for its unequal treatment of its Black partners. Through the present lawsuit, Combs Wine seeks to finally put an end to Diageo's long-standing misconduct. Combs Wines demands nothing more than what Diageo has promised to consumers, shareholders, business partners, and Combs Wines itself. Diageo must be ordered by a court to give Combs Wines the same treatment it gives its other successful tequila brands. It is time that Diageo's actions match its words. Okay? Now that was just the nature of the actions. Okay? Okay, you love your Jose Cuervo. Wait, Cuervito? I've never heard of that one. Yeah, you never drank DeLeon. You didn't miss it. You didn't miss nothing. You didn't miss nothing. And don't ill Cuervo, okay? Because I drank Cuervo a long time ago, okay? Till I started learning the difference. Ciroc gave me a hangover. See, I don't deal with vodka because vodka always makes me feel like the next day. Like I'm always super tired, drained, and don't feel like I need at least 24 to 48 hours to recover after I drink vodka. So I don't mess with vodka, okay? None of it. Okay. If I do have to do a vodka, like I want a martini or something like that, I do Kettle One. That's the only one that I'll deal with is Kettle One. All right, so now here is the introduction into the case, guys. So Mr. Combs is a powerful force in both the entertainment and business, internationally renowned as a musician, music producer, entrepreneur, actor, film and television producer, and philanthropist. Mr. Combs has established a vast following among his fans and the general population. Mr. Combs has used his acclaim to grow his business and those of his partners in a wide variety of industries, including media, health, wellness, fragrances, and fashion. Diageo first approached Mr. Combs more than 15 years ago. In 2007, Diageo contacted Mr. Combs to help grow its then struggling vodka brand, Ciroc. So, put a pin in that. Put a pin in that. So Ciroc isn't Diddy's. Ciroc is Diageo's. Interesting, because we all were under the assumption that Ciroc was his. Henny glasses in the chat if you thought Ciroc was Diddy's. But it says right there in black and white that it was their struggling vodka brand. Okay, Larisi said Kettle One. Yes, That's the only vodka I'll drink is Kettle One. All right, see, some people were thinking like me. Y'all were thinking that he was Ciroc. I mean, listen, he was doing all the branding, if that's the case, because since now we know it's not, he was doing all the branding because he was walking up and down with bottles in his hand at photo shoots on red carpets. He was everywhere with a bottle of Ciroc and was promoting it. All right, so now let's continue. Mr. Combs agreed to use his widely known name and influence to help promote and market Ciroc. So they contacted him to have him help promote and market their brand. So now let's think about what he's saying was going down in the first portion of all of this, where he was saying that, hey, y'all are marketing this to just one area of things. Yeah, because they contacted you because they wanted to tap into the urban community. You know why? Because the black dollar is powerful. We're just the only ones that don't realize how powerful our dollar is. We don't know how powerful our vote is. We don't know how powerful our voices are. We don't know how powerful our community, if it can stick together, is. But that's a whole nother plight for a whole nother live. I'm not going to get on my soapbox here. But this is a clear-cut example of going after the black dollar. Let's continue. To show his commitment to Diageo and Ciroc, Mr. Combs agreed to an exclusivity clause that prevented him from promoting, endorsing, or having any direct or indirect interest in any other beverage alcohol product anywhere in the world. Diageo insisted on his provision, depriving Mr. Combs of becoming an owner or equal partner in other brands, while simultaneously disallowing Mr. Combs to participate in an equity partner in Ciroc. They would not let him become an equity partner in the very brand that they were basically treating him like a prostitute for. Sorry. But sorry. But in return, Diageo promised that if Ciroc was successful, it would invest in a joint partnership with Mr. Combs to launch a premium tequila brand. So instead of giving him partnership in Ciroc, they said, we'll partner with you and launch a premium tequila brand for you. Child, is the diddler getting diddled himself right now by Diageo? The years following the signing of the Ciroc agreement were filled with consistent supply issues and lack of meaningful distribution. Despite Mr. Combs' repeated pleas, Diageo failed time and time again to devote the proper attention, resources, and support to Ciroc. But even in the shadow of Diageo's neglect, Mr. Combs sparked spectacular growth for the once fledgling. Wait a minute, hold on. We're going to find out how to say this, because I think this is a word I'm going to add to my dictionary. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Oh, yeah, we gonna learn this word today. And I'm not afraid to get up here or ashamed to get up here and say, I don't know some of these words that they be using, but I'm going to learn to use them. I'm not afraid of that, because I'm human just like everybody else. So I don't be knowing all of these daggone names. Hold on. Where is it at? Give me this word. Copy. And then we going to paste it. Okay. And if you know how to say it, do not bother me. Fledgling. Okay, fledgling. And the meaning of fledgling, a fledgling is that's not what that is. I don't know if they meant to use that word. Let's go to the Oxford Dictionary, shall we? Because it's saying fledgling, a young bird that just learned to fly. I don't know if that was the right word for them to use. Okay, fledgling brand. Mr. Combs' impact is proven by the numbers. In 2007, Ciroc sold only about 75,000 cases per year. And just 2 years after Mr. Combs began promoting Ciroc, annual sales grew to about 400,000 cases. And by 2014, sales of Ciroc had grown by 3,000% since Mr. Combs began marketing it to approximately 2.6 million cases per year. Wow. Talk about growing it. Okay, he grew it. Due to the power, reach, and efforts of Mr. Combs, Ciroc went from just another vodka to $1 billion spirits brand known by millions. And at that time, he was not known as the diddler. It was still rumors and speculations. Right, Tiffany, but I came up out of there because they talking about a struggling bird, a bird struggling to fly, or something like. Listen, okay. Immature, inexperienced person. Right. Now I'm just like, okay. Despite Mr. Combs' efforts and optimism and Diageo's promises, the party's marriage suffered. Their marriage suffered. That's a good. I never thought about a business partnership as a marriage, but I guess that makes sense. Almost immediately due to Diageo's neglect. Don't that sound like a real marriage too? The parties had formal and informal agreements about distribution, investment, and branding positions for DeLeon tequila. Yet Diageo consistently fell short of its commitments. It instead began investing more heavily in other brands, including the competing Don Julio tequila that it acquired in 2005 and Casamigos tequila, which it acquired in 2017. Now pause, because I was told that Casamigos is disgusting and that Casamigos was better when George Clooney had it because George Clooney was the owner of Casamigos. I didn't know that. So if you didn't know that, you just learned something. If you knew that, then you were a step ahead. Enamored with this new shiny toys, Diageo committed to and focused on DeLeon inevitably suffered. Left alone to save DeLeon, while Diageo invested more than $1 billion to acquire competing brands, Mr. Combs, with Diageo's knowledge, redesigned the DeLeon tequila bottle and developed a marketing plan to promote it. But Diageo again left Mr. Combs out to dry. Diageo instead insisted on an inferior design using inferior material, and even worse, launched those redesigned bottles without any marketing support. The public was understandably confused, and the product continued to fail. Diageo's refusal to abide by its obligations and promises escalated into the late 2010s to the detriment of DeLeon tequila. For example, Diageo unilaterally discontinued DeLeon's 375 milliliter without Mr. Combs' consent, creating sharp sales declines in key markets. Likewise, in 2019, a Diageo clerical mistake caused the Mexican government to impound a critical shipment of DeLeon tequila at the border. In 2020, Diageo's unfair treatment of DeLeon reached a new height. Amidst a growing shortage of agave, the key ingredient in tequila, Diageo brazenly snubbed DeLeon by allocating its existing supply of agave to competing tequila brands, forcing DeLeon to scramble to source agave from the spot market at specifically higher costs. Damn, it sounds like they was little boy in here. They was sunning him. The result of this systematic neglect, widespread and years-long shortages and out of stocks of DeLeon tequila in major markets, including California, Texas, and Florida. Adding insult to injury, Mr. Combs learned of these varied inventory issues from retailers, not Diageo. Diageo's failure to provide even this basic courtesy confirmed the worst. This was not a good faith partnership, let alone the trusting marriage Mr. Combs had hoped for. Now, I'll pause for a second. Now, we quick to get on people that go around him and say that, well, when you've been around him and you was around him for years, why did it take you so long to get away? Well, I'm going to pose that same question here, okay? If you were with them in 2007, and we talking 2020 now, okay? And you saw all of this was happening way back when. You started noticing these things in 2010 and 2014, 2020, 2020, we still here. You ain't learned your lesson and pull out. Pause. No Diddy. You ain't learned your lesson, no. Okay. While Diageo has undoubtedly violated its contractual obligations and unfairly lined its own pockets, this case is not an ordinary contract dispute in which a party chooses to disregard its contractual promises due to greed and profit. Rather, similar to the realty's experience, realistic experienced by many people of color in the United States, Diageo's treatment of its business relationship with Mr. Combs was tainted by racial prejudice. It was too slippery to pull out. Girl, y'all, and these baby oil jokes, the internet is undefeated. For example, after Mr. Combs grew Ciroc into $1 billion brand that had widespread appeal, an internal Diageo presentation called Ciroc, an urban African American brand tied to one personality, Diageo eventually proposed downplaying Ciroc's connection to Mr. Combs with the goal of rolling back its image of being an African American brand. Diageo's unequal treatment of Mr. Combs is at times even less subtle. Mr. Rust, for example, told Mr. Combs that things would be different if he were white, not black. Celebrity. Things would be different if he was black, not white. Celebrity. Hey, Misfit. I'm trying to ignore y'all. Diageo's unequal treatment of Mr. Combs is at times even less subtle. Okay, we've read that already. That if he were a white and not black celebrity. Diageo, in other words, openly admitted that it viewed Mr. Combs merely as a black man that might prove useful in marketing to black consumers, nothing more. What did you think they were thinking when they came to you? Resentment of Hip Hop Past says, Jamie Foxx tried to warn Diddy by telling stories and saying he got video soon after Diddy tried to delete Fox. You just dropped some Henny. You just dropped a shot of Henny and set it on fire. Thank you. Predictably, DeLeon and Mr. Combs bore the brunt of Diageo's conduct. It soon became clear that Diageo had stopped even going through the motions that are to be expected in any good faith partnership. Multiple retailers, each responsible for millions of spirit sales, have reported that despite their interest in carrying DeLeon tequila and or Ciroc, Diageo never contacted them for potential sale and distribution of those brands. In 2020, Mr. Combs confronted Diageo and demanded that Diageo commit to change its ways through concrete promises and a revised joint venture agreement. At least on paper, Diageo agreed. But Diageo's paper promise turned out to be a little more than a way to make Mr. Combs sit down and shut up. Despite committing to be transparent about the production and sales of DeLeon tequila, Diageo deceived Mr. Combs when he asked about such issues. For example, in 2021, Diageo told Combs Wines that its glass supplier had unexpected disruptions due to the panoramic. This word right here. I don't know if this word will get me in trouble, so I ain't going to say it. And therefore could not produce as many bottles of DeLeon tequila as expected. But when Combs Wine spoke with representatives of that supplier, they said the shortages were due to planned maintenance that occurs every 7 years. Maintenance that Diageo surely knew about and never told Combs Wines. The breach of promises and disrespect still had not ceased. This time, with understandably little trust left in Diageo's team, Mr. Combs took action immediately. He sent a request for books and records to Diageo, to which they sent a perfectionary response. And when Combs again pressed Diageo for more information, Diageo refused to provide it. Diageo's retort to these follow-up inquiries spoke volumes about its backwards treatment of Mr. Combs. While refusing to honor its own promises, Diageo demanded that Mr. Combs provide confirmation that he would not violate his non-disparagement clause. In short, Diageo did not care about respecting its obligation to Combs Wines. All it cared about was avoiding public accountability for its own discriminatory conduct. Child. Baby. Baby. They basically said, look, we're going to slut you out. We're going to treat you like a prostitute, put you out here and market you to the Black community. We're going to get everybody popping these bottles of Ciroc and you're going to build our brand. And no, we're not going to give you a percentage in the brand that you helped build, because as we read, it was $75,000 a year that they were bringing in off of Ciroc before he came in. Once he came in and he marketed it to us, it became a $1 billion brand. Let me say this to you people. Now, I know right now we are not on Diddy's side, but let me say this to you people out here listening right now on the live and who are out there on the replay game. This is a prime example of how powerful the Black dollar is and how powerful our community is. And I'm going to tell you why. Because he took something that was scuffling at $75,000 a year. I'm going to stress that right now. $75,000 a year is somebody's income that they make for a year. That's what they were getting off of that Ciroc brand. Diddy stepped in, marketed it to our community, to the urban community, to the hip hop community, to the Black community, to the Hispanic community, to people who related to hip hop, and pushed it up to $1 billion business. Do you see how powerful we are, people? Okay, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Let me fix my head pillow and fix my locks and sit down. Soapbox aside, you've got to give it to me that my commentary about him being slutted out and put on the stroll, I'm sitting over here. I am ridiculous. I see why you guys be like, Henny, go live. Henny, go talk about it. Henny, I want to see what you say. I'm really laughing. I'm really laughing at myself right now. And I'm looking at y'all comments and I'm crying. Like, y'all are fools and I love y'all. Thank y'all for tapping in and engaging, but let's get back to the content, because that's what y'all came for. Back for a second. Let's get back into this right here. So basically they used and abused him. They told him that they was going to give him this brand and that they were going to give him equal marketing, distribution, and all of that, only for them to slut him out and treat him like he treated people from the freak offs. All right. Where were we? Combs entered into this agreement based on what turned out to be false promises. Then Diageo would correct its course, commit to meaningfully support the Delion brand, and finally live up to its diverse promises. But as explained below, those promises have not been kept and appear to have never been sincerely made. Instead, Diageo seemed to have a more inferior purpose. A more nefarious purpose, to dupe Mr. Combs and Combs Wines into providing releases for Diageo's historical misconduct and to string Mr. Combs along to maintain his ongoing marketing support. But whatever Diageo's intentions were, its actions violate both the spirits and letter of the parties' agreement. Indeed, as part of 2021 JV, Combs Wines negotiated a broad equal treatment provision to address the root cause of Diageo's misconduct and to ensure that Diageo could not treat other brands better than it treated Delion tequila. Yet again, Diageo's seemingly strong commitment turned out to be a paper lion. Pause right there. Diddy is in a business relationship that is mirroring the relationships that people have alleged against him in these court docs. Do y'all see that? Or am I? Henny Glasses in the chat if y'all see how it's mirroring. Hey, Diamond. Diamond said, Henny, you are 100% right. And this whole situation is fueled by this company. Thank you, Diamond. Despite a booming tequila market and contractual provisions requiring that DeLeon be treated at least as favorably as Diageo and its controlled affiliates, other tequila brands, we saw who the other tequila brands were. Diageo has continued to produce underwhelmingly and disproportionately low quantities of DeLeon tequila. Most recently, Diageo has crippled DeLeon's growth by failing to keep up with consumer demands for DeLeon's Raspado. Did I say that right? Somebody tell me. Henny, when you have a chance, look at who of these higher ups are at the board and investors of Diageo. Oh, I plan to. Okay, this is under Henny investigation. I plan to, because I did a little homework on them. I know a little bit, but I don't know a lot, so I ain't gonna speak on things when I don't know a lot. Okay, so I see some of y'all put some Henny Glasses down there in the chat. I don't know what y'all was saying no to. What y'all saying no to? Y'all was saying no to me. Diageo provided the funds for Cassie's attorney. You understand why we're here? Chris, you understand why we're here? See all them people that was leaving out the chat? Resposado? Is that right? Oh, no. Y'all both said no. That's what y'all was. Listen, that word, okay? That tequila. Thank you, but that tequila. As that tequila surged in popularity, Diageo did not adequately ramp DeLeon production, causing DeLeon, that tequila, to be consistently out of stock and forcing interested DeLeon consumers to look elsewhere. Adding salt to the wound, the Combs team had for years foreseen this trend and had pushed that tequila as the would-be or should-be hero of the DeLeon portfolio. Okay? Had Diageo not discarded the Combs team's guidance back then, the DeLeon brand would never have been caught flat-footed in 2022 and 2023. Diageo has also failed to invest in positioning and promoting DeLeon tequila as anything approaching an equal level. Even the bare minimum equal positioning efforts have proven too much for Diageo, unlike other tequilas. DeLeon doesn't even have a dedicated brand page on Diageo's website. This unequal treatment extends to sales and distribution. Diageo's senior sales executives have admitted that there have been no sales incentives for Ciroc or DeLeon since 2017. This lack of attention has become clear in the marketplace. Multiple distributors have told Combs Wines that Diageo has not spoken to them about DeLeon or Ciroc. Other distributors lack even the basic information about the brands needed to decide whether to carry the brand. The sort of information that any good faith distribution effort would ensure as widely circulated. Numerous market participants, both inside Diageo and independent of it, have correctly diagnosed this problem as one of racial stereotyping. A Ciroc brand executive, for instance, suggested that Diageo sparse distribution of Ciroc is due to the fact that Ciroc is a brand for Black consumers. Major retailers and potential business partners have likewise confirmed to Mr. Combs that Ciroc and DeLeon are positioned by Diageo's as ethnic brands, But these ethnic brands became a billion. One of them became a $1 billion brand off the back of being an ethnic brand. The predictable result of Diageo's intentionally restricting DeLeon's sale footprint is that DeLeon's sales footprint has remained restricted. Third-party data confirms that DeLeon distribution has hovered in minuscule levels, while Casamigos and Don Julio distribution rates continue to increase year after year. And even in retail locations that sell DeLeon, its products are only in a few facing. Compare that to Don Julio and Casamigos. Not only have many multiples more retail facing than DeLeon, but also have increased those retail facings almost every year. Likewise, while Don Julio and Casamigo have more than doubled their sales velocity in recent years, DeLeon laggers behind. As of 2022, DeLeon tequila is distributed in just 3.3% of all possible outlets, as compared to 36% of Don Julio and 34.4% of Casamigos. A disparity that is all the more egregious given the parties' DeLeon partnership predicted the Diageo acquisition of other brands. I'm sorry, when they put DeLeon and Diageo in the same sentence, it kind of gets me a little, y'all bear with me. I got it though. Under the joint venture agreement of these types of violations cause irreparable damage. Accordingly, Combs Wines is entitled to equitable relief, including injunctive relief or specific performance, to enforce the promises that Diageo agreed to. Combs Wines is now left with no option but to seek injunctive relief from this court to enforce the third JV agreement as written. The growth of DeLeon tequila brand has suffered significant headwinds and damage due to Diageo's intentional and willful conduct. At this point, only a binding enforceable court order will finally put Diageo on the path to compliance and force Diageo to end its deceptive, discriminatory damage and behavior. Now, child, that's the case. That was the case back in 2023 in July. Not Diddy had more oil than Saudi Arabia. I'm done with y'all. But we're not done, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I'm sorry. I read that one, but I didn't read this one. But this was just, okay, so let me go back. Let me correct myself. This was the original filing, okay? And this original filing was in March of 2024, all right? And this was the actual filing that went into the county clerk's office. But anyway, this is the case. And based off of the fact that he was making some very strong points there and some accusations against DeLeon, I would say if people were saying that this is what started all of this, I would say you are correct. Based off of the fact that it has been said that Diageo paid for Cassie's lawyers makes me believe that they put Cassie up to this. It further leads me to believe that there are people from Diageo that may be on those tapes that show them at freak-offs, tapes that show them engaging in some of this behavior that has the feds blushing behind closed doors. I'm just saying. Send you the StreamYard link? Absolutely. I'm about to drop this link and bring Diamond up, y'all. Please, only Diamond hit the link. There you go, Diamond. Come on up, Diamond. What? That was interesting, wasn't it? Well, I told y'all that I was going to bring y'all this Diageo case again because it spun the block and it was in the testimonies. But y'all, thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in. Does this make a lot of sense? Like, it's all making sense. And that's how I felt way back when. So when people are trying to come for your girl, talking about, oh, you that's why I'd be like, shut up, because you don't know what you're talking about. Because from the beginning, I have always blamed Diageo for starting all of this. Okay. I have blamed Diageo for starting this case a long time ago. Now, as to if the rumors, hey y'all see I'm chilling. Hey, y'all see me chilling. As for if the rumors about Diageo paying for Cassie's lawyers are true or not, I cannot confirm nor deny that. However, this has been the case. All right, this is the case. Well, you can't do nothing about that. Okay. Well, this has been the case. This is how it all started. As y'all heard, Diageo filed their case in March of 2023. Cassie filed hers in November of 2023. And Diddy did settle his case with Diageo as well. Okay. He did get a payout. There is another video that I did where I talked about some of the old money that he was connected to. But as far as this case goes, you know, Diddy and Diageo settled their dispute in January, okay, of last year. It involved Diddy withdrawing from his lawsuit against Diageo, which, you know, like we saw, he accused them of racism, okay? Now, as for the amount, let me just put this up here for y'all to see, because this was a public statement that was made. Let me see if oh yes, it's still here on their website, which is crazy work to me. All right, hold on. I'm about to show y'all the crazy work. That's not the crazy work. That's just crazy me. So this is on Diageo's official website, and it was posted January 16th of 2024. Diageo announces settlement of disputes with Sean Combs and sole ownership of DeLeon Tequila. This is where they snatched his brand, okay? It says Sean Combs and Diageo have now agreed to resolve all disputes between them. Mr. Combs has withdrawn all of his allegations about Diageo and will voluntarily dismiss his lawsuit against Diageo with prejudice. Diageo and Mr. Combs have no ongoing business relationship, either with respect to Ciroc Vodka or DeLeon Tequila, which Diageo now solely owns. So they basically got up on the World Wide Web and put it on their website and said, we snatched our cash back. And we took his brand as well. Yeah. So let me see if I can pull that up. All right. Okay, so Diageo did not publicly disclose, but it was reported that they paid $200 million to Diddy's company, Combs Wine and Spirits, to buy out his 50% stake in DeLeon Tequila brand. So it was 50-50 between DeLeon and Diddy. And so they paid him $200 million to buy out his portion. And now they not only said, go back from whence you came. They said, take that. We getting ready to come for that. So when people start saying that this is about taking Diddy's money, this federal case, they're coming for the money, it is possible. It's very possible. But y'all, that's going to do it for this video. I'm very much worn out. Y'all have gotten 3 lives, okay? 3 lives today. 2 vertical and 1 horizontal. And we're going to try to make this a thing that we do. But in the meantime and in between time, if you're on the replay gang, run it up, run it up, run it up. Y'all share this video up. Thank y'all for tapping in and tuning in, okay? Diddy finna be broke. All these people coming for money. Damn. Well, the government is going to take theirs right off the top, okay? You are going to dream about this. No, let's hope that I don't have a nightmare. But anyway, love is always love, y'all. Remember to rest when you rest well, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace, everybody.